Hello, my name is Professor Jairo Gonzalez, and I'm here to tell you how these Arizona Republicans are stealing the light rail and the Democrats are letting them. This all started this Wednesday at the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee meeting, which I have gone through, I've taken the notes, and I've re-edited them to make sense to the public so that you could read through them and understand how they're doing this. Let's begin. I would like to call the city's plan, I like to refer to it as trying nothing and giving up, because it's exactly what happened at this meeting. My reasons for doing this expose are simple. 1. This affects the community I grew up in. 2. I was 17 in 2012 when they voted for light rail to the west side. Back then, I lived there, and I remember being excited that it was coming. I'm now 30 years old, and it's still yet to come. A whole lifetime passed by, and we did not deliver a rail solution for that community. And I think that's not just a tragedy, but a moral failure upon us to a community that has voted on it. Okay. I want to stand for others by sharing this the way I wish somebody would have stood for me when it happened to me. So here's the agenda. 1, we're going to talk about what the vote was about. I will try to explain the issue. 2, I will give you some AZ politics context not discussed in the minutes, which really fucking matters. I will go over the community input. Then I have a secret fourth thing that actually happened during this meeting. It was kind of a side quest. Then we'll go over the committee's responses. And lastly, we'll go over the vote. Okay, so to start, what was the vote even about? As always, this is a really complicated topic. I read through the minutes previous to the meetings, and then I went to the meeting, and Valley Metro made a presentation. All of this material that I have, I vetted, and it comes from them. So first, for the background, there are 2 rail lines in discussion throughout the whole thing. 1 is the Capitol Extension, and 2 is the 10 West line. They are 2 separate tracks, but they are connected. This part right here, this is 10 West. This is the long-term plan that is supposed to make it all the way out to the west side and stop somewhere on Thomas and 83rd. I want to make it clear, Thomas and 83rd, it is not anywhere near Indian School. We'll have to come back to that later. Then there's also this. This is the Capitol Extension. The Capitol Extension is actually what is being argued with today, and there is a lot of drama behind it. So to start, the Capitol Extension must be completed before the 10 West line begins. That's how the process is supposed to go. You complete the CapEx, you know where it ends, and then at that point you can connect all the way to 10 West. My next question is, did the voters approve this plan? Yes. They voted for it 4 times. Here is a timeline of events which goes back all the way to the year 2000, when I was 5. That's when they first voted for it. They voted for it again in proposition in 2004. Then again in 2015, and then again in 2021. This has been argued and ended. We know what the voters want. The voters want affordable, good transit to their communities from downtown. All this data was provided by Valley Metro at this meeting. Each arrow indicates a time when this issue was on the ballot and the citizens voted for it. As you can see, that's 4. The council members know this and know that their mandate is that they must deliver this solution. This isn't a question of whether or not the voters want to do this. This is a question of how they will execute. The council members are expected to choose. They're not expected to say, oh, do we want it? Because we don't. We do. We don't need to go over it again. We know that we want it. Okay? So the plan as approved cut through the Capital District. This is the route we are working on. It was voted in 2021. This plan was used to develop and aim for the federal capital investment grant. This is $1.3 billion of federal money which we could have earned. This grant would help fund CapEx in 10 West by the majority. It's like 60% of the funding. The completed plan, which is the same one we had been doing since 2021, is due in April of 2026, and we had it done. It was complete. Until 2023, when Republicans in the legislature, the Arizona legislature, voted for SB 1102, which states, notwithstanding any federal law, any other law, public monies may not be used to extend light rail service in Phoenix to 1. The area with a boundary of 17th Avenue on the east, Adams Street on the north, 18th Avenue on the west, and Jefferson Street on the south, and any property that is within 50 linear yards of the area described in paragraph 1 of this area. All right? So basically they said, change up the map. This new map, which you can see right here, is actually the original map. This is the 2021 plan, but if you could see that big orange box, that orange box is a Republican poison pill. They passed this in 2023 because they knew it would kill the project. That said, the Arizona Republican legislature sabotaged the process to build the rail as the voters approved of it. This plan had been voted on 4 times and the Republicans said no. We're going to put a pin on that. We're going to come back to it though. Okay, so we go back and we look at our 2 different rail lines and we look at our pin. That entire pin that I showed you goes in the CapEx zone. We are being held hostage. The Arizona Republicans have successfully blocked 10 West by holding CapEx hostage. Those Republicans, which I will get to, said you can't build this, and because we need to have the endpoint of CapEx, they're blocking 10 West. This is 11 miles of rail that they're blocking with a little square about this big on the map. It's so unfair. Okay? In response to this Republican election theft, the Valley Metro completely analyzed 3 different routes and to replace the stolen route in the last 2 years. They're right here. They're 7th Avenue North, 16th Avenue North, and 16th Avenue South, all of which go around the Capitol building as the Republicans tried to make it. All 3 of these opinions have been deemed net positives for the community. Here is a chart which Valley Metro provided. I'm not here to convince you that they are going to be profitable. I think that they are. Valley Metro showed them to me. If you want to be able to pay attention to this, go to the video that I will add in the description between 4:10 and 4:33 in the meeting. That's half an hour. We had the light rail folks explain the entire project from end to end and talk about feasibility and discuss how everything is feasible. This is a questionless, absolutely questionless plan. It'll work. I've read it. I know math. It makes sense to me. Regardless, this isn't a question of feasibility. This is a question of how do we give the voters what they voted for. It's not how do we do what they want. That's exactly it. It's how do we do what they want, not do they want this. Okay? So, if any of those choices are approved, they can be incorporated into the plan and be approved by April 2026, and building can commence with the CIG grant, which I'll remind you is $1.3 billion. So to recap, 1, the voters have approved this rail since 2000. 2, the voters voted for a plan in 2021. 3, the Republicans in the Arizona Senate blocked the plan in 2023. 4, Valley Metro has 4 possible alternatives after the GOP cheat. 5, any of those 3 options could be used to make the deadline and preserve our funding. So what was the decision the council actually had to vote for? That was all context. What did they have to vote for? The decision is as follows. Option 1, do what the voters want, let Valley Metro pick any of the 3 choices. Or option 2, do nothing and let the Republicans win. That's it. They didn't even have to pick one of the routes. If you can see here, this is actually what Valley Metro showed. If they said adopt an unupdated CapEx route, the CapEx remains in the capital investment program and we can submit our engineering and we could start next year. If we reevaluate, we just have to give up. That's it. What are the pros? The pros to taking 1 is the voters get what they voted for. The council members can let Valley Metro do its job, but the cons are that the council members have to do their jobs and fight the right wing in the legislature. Option 2, on the other hand, also has pros and cons. The cons is that failing to meet the deadline throws away $1.3 billion in federal grants that we already fought for. Pros, the council members can fail to stand up to the Republicans. That's it. They don't have to do their jobs if they vote for this. Okay? So, council members Waring, Stark, Hodge Washington, and Robinson had these 2 options. Voting to pass option 1 is the pro-voter option. The voters have said they want this 4 times. Voting to pass option 2 is a pro-Republican obstructional option. Giving them option 2 is letting them win, and they know that. We're going to come back to this later, but first, we got to talk about context not discussed in the minutes. So, remember earlier I said about this pin, about this area right here? There's a reason that I put it to the side. So, in Senate Bill 1102, which was the poison pill to this, was passed by the Republican AZ legislature, 16 Republicans to 4 Democrats, and 31 Republicans to 29 Democrats in the House. The sponsor for this bill included Representative David Livingston. Representative David Livingston, along with Senator John Kavanaugh, both Arizona Republicans, have been opposed to this light rail for years. During this process, like literally the day before, they dropped a letter threatening to use their skills in the legislature to kill the light rail if the council members pass it. The council members actually acknowledged this letter from the office making this threat at 2:11 in the video. I have made a request for this letter. I was not provided at the time of this recording. It was not provided at the meeting time either. It's just a random threat. We don't know what it says. Okay? So, Republicans are actively attacking this public service solution by threatening and planning and dragging their feet. So, who are these bozos? Who the fuck are we talking about? One, we got Republican David Livingston, who is the rep to Arizona's 28th legislative district, and Senator John Kavanaugh, who is a senator from the 3rd district. The districts are the same system, but each district has a rep and a senator. So they're from different districts. We're going to talk about them individually real quick. So first, David Livingston. David Livingston is from District 28. This is a map of Phoenix and all the districts. District 28 is that one way up there outside of Phoenix. It's on Anthem. It's New River. Surprise. It's not affected at all. Why does this man get to block it? It's right there. Okay? He's not from the inner Phoenix Metro and is holding it hostage. I want to repeat, this random Republican is holding the Metro hostage. So, what else did he do? In 2020, he's a Stop the Steal MAGA loser. This is one of those guys that's like, oh, Trump actually won. Fuck democracy. This is a loser. He's a little pro-Trump loser, and he's going to go away as soon as Trump goes because all these losers are tanking. Okay? He also sponsored the Charlie Kirk highway bill, which was wildly unpopular. Like, this is from when they were telling us that we had to, like, idolize that man. This man was like, oh, we got to, like, label a highway in Arizona Charlie Kirk. Okay? What about Senator John Kavanaugh? What does he have to do? He's from the 3rd district, which you will notice is not even in Phoenix. This man has a district that is Mesa and, like, fucking outside of Fountain Hills. Not even Fountain Hills. This man could not get elected in the Phoenix Metro. I stand by that. He could not get elected in the Phoenix Metro even if he tried. There's not enough dumbass, fuck-ass Republicans to vote for his stupid views. He's voted against ADA protections, pro-business, as always. He sponsored legislation against recording cops, as always. And he voted for voting restrictions along with his Republican Cretan allies during the 2020, like, fake MAGA shit. Like, this guy is a fucking loser too. They're both losers. So, we put it all together. All 7 of the same points. In summary, both of these men are MAGA losers who are not in Phoenix. The people stealing our light rail are bum-ass Republican losers not from Phoenix. They can be defeated, and it is our senators' duty to fight back. I want to put that out there. Our fucking council members need to stand up against these people. These men are exactly the type of people the Democratic coalition should be fighting. Why is the Democratic coalition just sitting down and taking it? What do they gain? They're nakedly abusing their power and threatening us. Why is this okay? Okay? So now we're going to go into community input. But don't forget about those guys. We'll come back to it. So I was at this meeting. 50 people, including myself, came to this meeting and signed up to speak, whether in person or virtually. That was 87 minutes of testimonial from the community. 13 of those people did not speak. We'll talk about that in a bit. So let me results of it. I tabulated. I took notes on every single speaker, made their main points, and wrote them down. The results are as follows. Pro option 1 to continue was 20. Pro option 2 was 16. Why were there so many people against it? I put an asterisk right here, and then I make it bigger. We're going to come back to it. We're going to come back to it right now when we talk about the spoiler. The Indian school rail confusion. There was some confusion along the Indian school rule where people said the rail was coming. To be clear, Indian school is not along this plan. Indian school is 2 miles north. So it goes Thomas, Indian school. You can look there. Thomas is on the edge of that map. Indian school is 1 mile north. It is not there. This is a non-issue for them. However, we're going to continue. There is no light rail to Indian school on this question. These people are voicing opposition to something else, and it's being treated as opposition to this question. This was a concerted effort This was business owners. All these people were business owners. They all know each other. These people had a petition and everything. So what I think happened is that somebody in that like circle of people was miscommunicated to, and then they got riled up in a frenzy because they do have class interests and it's okay for them to voice them. But there was no rail to Indian School Road. These people represent one type of constituent and not all of them, and they were wrong. They were showing up and be like, we don't want Indian School Rail. There was no Indian School Rail. What the fuck were they talking about? Business owners reserve a right to fair and equal representation as everyone else, but they were showing up to a non-issue. They were showing up to complain about something that even at the earliest would start in 2029. As in not start building, start talking about it. It's so far out of the way. These people are showing opposition to something that may as well not exist. There's a real problem here, and these Indian school people came in and were complaining about something completely unrelated. Okay? So I went through the data. Of the 16 people who openly spoke about being against this proposition, 15 of them claimed to be opposed due to Indian school. Of those same 15, they admitted to being business owners. So this is a specific group of people. They're allowed to speak, but they happen to be wrong. I'm going to leave it at that. Business owners reserve a right to fair and equal representation as everyone else, but they were there for a non-issue. Okay? However, I specifically want to call out Patricia Jimenez from District 4 because she's a candidate. She's a candidate for that seat, and her speech was atrocious. She started by admitting that she knew that she was complaining about the wrong thing and then tried to make a stump speech. Okay? So, by the point that she was speaking, the actual council members had told the crowd, like, hey, you're complaining about Indian school, but we're not talking about Indian school today. So, like, you guys can chill, right? A bunch of people actually left. Those 13 people that I talked about, they left because they realized they were just not there for the right thing. Anyway, Patricia Jimenez, I'm not gonna like put this on her. Her speech was ass. She knew she was wasting our time. She has a $20 billion loss controversy in previous politics, and they cut her off and she kept yapping. She doesn't give a fuck. This isn't about the rail. This is for her to make a stump speech. Listen to her whataboutisms at 116. Like literally go to the video 116. She starts talking about, oh, we don't have cops. We don't have this. We don't have that. She doesn't actually care. She's there because she wants to make a political stance. Why? Because she wants all those people that have riled up to vote for her. That said, another person complaining about Indian school does not make the 10 West a problem because the 10 West will not cut through Indian school. Okay? Here's some info about her. She is on a school board and she has put her district in 20 million debt, so have at it. Okay. I cannot prove it, but I believe there is a concerted disinformation campaign in District 4 to scaremonger about the rail. Somebody out there is scaring these people. I don't know who it is. That said, again, this is not an issue going on at this moment. I just wanted to sit there from the side because it was significant enough that it freaked me out when I was there. We can return to the earlier pin now. So, if we take those 16 and you remove those who opposed to option 1 who explicitly said they were speaking about Indian school, you get the following. Pro option 1, 20. Pro option 2, 1. And you might say, Jairo, why can you just remove these people? Because the issue we're talking about isn't there. The plan that would be approved is the capital extension. That's nowhere near Indian school. They're complaining about something that isn't there, so I'm removing their context, and I feel like it's fair to show a full picture. Okay? The community members who understood the issue overwhelmingly supported option 1. Okay? Some organization who sent support to the light rail and sent representatives were SWEEP, the Southwest Energy Efficiency Project. Their point that failing to put the light rail up will make us miss our targets for energy efficiency for the city. The Voices of the Downtown Voices Coalition talked about how we deserve to have a city where people can walk. The residents of the Woodlawn neighborhood pointed out that this plan has been so long that some of them had actually bought their homes waiting for the rail to cut through their neighborhood, and they still don't have it. Lastly, Chispa was there. Their representative was talking about protecting Latino interests. And one thing that was importantly poignant that she said was that they were fighting for the Camelback rail previously, and they were told that they couldn't fight for the Camelback rail until the CapEx rail was passed by the city council. They fought, and they were told, wait until next time. And now we're saying we might not do next time. I feel like their rage is very justified. Okay? So I inputted all this in my notes, and I actually wrote down some things that people have said. So some people's reasons were that voters have voted 4 times. We have to break the chain of broken promises because this has gone back all the way to 2000. Car costs of people are going violently up. Denying the rail is short-sighted. Chispa, as I said, have previously been told that no camelback rail until we have the CapEx rails. Other people said the experts can choose, just let Valley Metro do it. Other people talked about the benefits to health. One man gave a really strong testimonial of the rail helping him escape poverty, which is a really deep and emotional thing to share. Other people talked about how delaying this would make it more expensive. One man talked about how he's been advocating for 35 years and everything above has been consistent and it's gotten worse. People have talked about good economic impact. One man talked about how the train is maligned as a negative thing because of economic interest of wealthy people. Woodlawn residents planned their lives and bought homes waiting for the rail. One man was visually impaired and he can't drive, so he was really happy that the rail was coming and it's not coming anymore. Sucks. And then Sweep said that we will stall our commitments to energy efficiency. All of these things are reasons why we need the rail. And I want you to remember that, okay? So, most importantly, the council must choose option 1 because it is their job to do what the voters told them to do 4 times. This isn't a question of how should we do this. It's a question of we have 3 options, pick one, let's go. That's it. Okay? So, after this community input, there was an 87 long testimonial session which concluded and the council was allowed to ask questions. I will summarize their points. There will be a detailed notes added in the appendix. I will release this document when I release everything. But I want to start with Deborah Stark because after all these people had said their piece, this is the very first thing this woman asked.
I saw the speakers, and so I will turn to the council for questions and comments. But first, I have just a couple questions. And the first is, I was contacted by the Diamondbacks yesterday, and they had concerns with some of the proposed options. Have you guys been contacted, and have the Suns reached out?
Have you asked the Diamondbacks or the Suns? This happens at approximately 2 hours and 10 minutes of this meeting. I wish I was lying when I said this lady's first concern was a baseball team that loses every year, but no. After voters have given all these things about their lives, about how this is something that should pass, this lady's like, but what about the baseball team? Okay? So after kowtowing to the sports team, Deborah Stark asked her next question, which I also have right here.
We did get a letter from Representative Livingston and Senator Kavanaugh, but they're part of the GLBC, have they yet approved the station locations for either of the 16th Avenue options? Thank you.
The second concern she has, was this approved by Livingston and Kavanaugh?
We did.
She's not worried about whether Livingston or Kavanaugh will approve. Why does that matter? Why do they get more voice than the rest of us? These two bozos, why do they get to vote more than we do? Why is this even a concern? Why do we care? I tried to get their letter. I haven't gotten it yet, but I want to share now. Okay? So, just want to put this clearly. Deborah Stark is bending the knee to 2 MAGA losers, not even in her constituency. After baseball, after these two, it's just, what is she defending? Republicans? Yes. Again, this woman is afraid of 2 MAGA losers. This guy sponsored the Charlie Kirk highway bill, which was like so fucking unpopular that it didn't pass. Hello? Okay? So I'm going to summarize this. She kowtows to the D-backs. She kowtows to MAGA losers. She kowtows to rumors of the legislature because the legislature is now trying to get in the way by blocking the 10 West part through legal works too, which is, again, theft. And she pays lip service to not ignoring the will of the voters. This is at 2:19. These are all timestamped. You can watch them yourself. I don't feel like I'm being this generous to her. Okay? Then we're going to move on to Jim Waring, City Council District 2. He's the only Republican on this council. Well, on the subcommittee. There's a different Republican on the main council. I didn't expect him to vote for rail, but he did have some important moments. One, he says that the people who are going to get in our way think that obstruction is fun. And he also said that obstruction is fun too. He cites that the affected districts aren't there, even though District 1 commented. So again, whatever. He's the first one to bring up the idea to give up at 234. And he does a secret third thing that I'll get back to at 239. Let me just come back to the other two members because I have smoke for them too. Okay. Next, we have Kesha Hodge Washington, City District 8. She can afford to be on the fence because her district already has rails. She can be like, oh, oops, my hands are tied because she doesn't lose. She already won. So she acknowledges the Indian school debacle, which was nice. She was like, hey guys, your will is important, but like this isn't related to this, which worried me because I thought these people were going to use all of that negative input to be like, oh, you see, half the community doesn't like it, which is not true. At 234, she pays lip service to community outreach. And then at 236:30, she says she doesn't want to deprive the voters of rail. Let's watch that clip.
System, and I don't want to deprive other communities of that same benefit. I just want to make sure that the route and the decision is made by individuals who actually represent the residents in that area. And we are making it with as much information as possible, including whether or not there might be an additional, some leeway that might be given from our legislative partners. So thank you.
You hear that? Some leeway given to her by her legislative partners. Right there. They're afraid of fighting these Republicans. They're afraid that if they stand up, they're not going to get shit. What's the point of being an elected official if you're not going to stand up? She just gave it to them. She admits to being concerned with the MAGA boys at the end of that clip. Like, it's so disappointing that like, oh yeah, we just don't want to deny it to the voters. But the special little Republican boys in the legislature, they don't want it, so they get what they want. It's really, the more you think about it, the more fucked up it is. These people are afraid of standing up for you, the Phoenix voter. Okay? Then we're going to go to Kevin Robinson, who was a city veteran. He has been involved in the city as far back as when he was a cop. He calls him and his homies the guardians of the tax dollars. And he asks about the money. Valley Metro makes it clear that the project needs the federal funding to proceed as is, which is fine because we have a plan. That's what it's supposed to be for. Okay? And then after that, he actually asks about the Republicans. I'm not going to show that clip because there's a bigger clip right after. But at 224, he's like, so will the Republicans get in the way? And Valley Metro's like, yeah, we know that they're going to try. Okay. And lastly, he acknowledges this exact same scenario. And it's so galling to me. I had to I copied it. Let's see it.
From Woodland Park with the Woodland shirt on, you mentioned about our future and things like that. And this is just more anecdotal than anything else. I remember it had to be in the mid-early 80s, I was a young police officer who had assignment here at City Hall just to watch over a council meeting. And I remember then Terry Goddard, I believe he was the mayor, who was arguing, pushing the light rail back then. And he said, if we fail to do something now, he said someone else is going to be dealing with it 30, 40 years down the road at a much more expensive price tag. And that's exactly what's going on now. So I thank you all for your...
Okay, so he talked about exactly, if we kick this down the road, it's going to get more expensive, and there's already been 30 years of kicking it down the road. It's gone so long that it's become a multi-billion-dollar project when it could have been a few million 30 years ago. Whatever, it's not his fault. Back then he was a cop. He didn't vote for it then.
From Woodland.
Okay, so now that we have the players, I'm going to animate how the vote went. Okay, so just a reminder, we have 4 players. We have Jim Waring, the first guy, Deborah Stark, the old white lady, Kevin Robinson, and Kesha Hodge. Okay, so we got these 4 people. Jim Waring is a Republican and the other 3 are Democrats. I have not pointed that out because we're about to see how bad it is. Okay, so first we go to Jim Waring, right? So this guy was going to be the guy. He's a Republican. He sides with these people. He caucuses with Livingston. He caucuses with Kavanaugh. These are the same team. He's working with them, not against them, with them. I want to put that out there because, of course, he's going to be the guy that says, hey, let's give up. All right? What gets me, though, is it wasn't just him. Deborah Stark, the Democrat, enabled him. So it goes like this. I, a Republican, think we should give up due to Republican obstruction. And then she fucking alley-oops it to him. Watch.
So that won't even be a discussion we would be having. So I might suggest we move option 2 and then sort it out to the extent we can in January. unless I'm missing something.
So is that a form of a motion?
Sure, I move option 2.
Is there a second?
Okay, Robinson seconded. But did you watch that? He just like, hey, I don't like this. And she's like, oh, is that what you want? Yeah? And he's like, yeah, sure. She threw it at him because she's afraid of standing up for option 1. That's where I'm standing right now. She could have done something, but she didn't, because standing up for option 1 is courageous. And she didn't, because she's afraid of these Republicans, these fucking sexless losers.
So that won't even...
Okay? You want a motion? Motion to give up. I second the motion to give up. Okay? That's what I'm frustrated about with Kevin Robinson too. After that speech that I showed you where he talked about it getting more expensive, he motions to give up. He's just like the Republican. Okay? And lastly, Hodge, after all she says, after standing on business about how people should deserve it, she just abstains. She just gives up. All these people, they all gave up. Back to back to back to back. 1 on purpose, 3 enabled him. The Democrats in power are willing to give up because they're afraid to fight Republican obstructionists. I repeat, the Democrats in power are willing to give up because they're afraid to fight Republican obstructionists. The Democrats in power are willing to give up because they're afraid to fight Republican obstructionists. These two bozos, these two fucking losers. See them? See them? Memorize their faces. See them on the street, harass them. Your elected officials are afraid of standing up to these two sexless MAGA losers. The city is majority Democrat. Your council is majority Democrat. It is their duty to fight against these fucking idiots. Why aren't they? Why are they kowtowing? Why are they bowing out before even throwing a punch? Stop giving my city away to Republicans. The Democrats in power are willing to give up because they're afraid to fight Republican obstructions. It's so fucking crazy. That's what I watched that day. So, let me just take it back a little bit. I want to give a few words from a member of the public who spoke at this meeting, which was me.
An issue of not having enough solutions. 3 of them have been presented and they have all been analyzed. This is an issue of not having enough courage. We have 3 clear-cut solutions that would make the lives of Arizonans better. We just need someone to be brave enough to pick any of them, and I believe it should be you. I ask you to vote for option 1 so we may begin taking care of our people now, today. Everyone benefits from having more trains, and stalling on a solution when 3 have already been presented is economically and politically short-sighted. Thank you.
Look at them. They're so fucking bored. They don't care.
An issue.
So, what now? I put this all together, but what now? Can we be stopped? What do we do next? So, the full council is voting on this issue in January. We still have time. What I would say is call your city council member and ask them why Livingston and Kavanaugh can block what your city voted for. Why do 2 Republican losers get to stand against you? Why do they get a voice? Why do they get to tell us how to have trains in our city when they don't even live in it? Why do they get to steal our elections? Call Deborah, Kesha, and Kevin and ask them why they're opting to give up. Also, call Jim. Be like, hey, Jim, you're a loser. Do that for me, please. Okay? Here is a number and email to all of the councils. Call your local council representative, send them an email. Get moving on this. These people are failing you on purpose, and we can stop them. We have about a month. There's no reason to sit back and let them take it from us. Go talk to your family on on Christmas Eve. Tell them the Democrats are sitting to the sidelines while Republicans steal your shit. And force these fucking lazy-ass Democrats to actually stand up for the working people and to stop letting the Republicans steal our shit. Thank you. Please. Fight for your home. Tell your council, don't let Republicans steal my shit. I know this is hard. I don't think it's easy. But I think nothing good comes easy. And if we're going to fight, we got to fight strong. If you want to talk about this, please reach out to me. I am more than happy to be with you. Thank you.